So
Okay, wait, Isaac, I'll see if I can do your last name correctly. Isaac Esses?
Esses. Close.
Esses.
Yeah.
Isaac
Esses.
Esses.
Yeah.
And Isaac is the founder and CEO of TKO Suites. And I'm really interested to hear your story. So, 24 locations. Let's talk about your life as an entrepreneur. Are you getting more sleep than Geo is?
I get a lot of sleep. Yeah.
Okay. You're a more balanced
I have no
entrepreneur.
complaints in that department. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay, tell us the story. So, you have a real estate construction background, somehow
So
decided
yeah, I
simple office suites, not co-working, not amenities that people won't pay for. I looked at the
I
deck.
Share with her the story from lunch that we were talking about, how you got started with your first
right.
3 locations. And
Yeah. So I actually started the business for my old bosses. They were a construction company, and I kind of handled all their side projects. So they were expanding pre-financial crisis,
Okay.
and they wanted another like 3,000 square feet of space in the building they were located at. And the landlord said, "I'm not breaking up the floor for you." So my boss turned around to me and said, "Hey, Isaac, we want like 2,000, 3,000 square feet. The landlord won't break up the floor. So we want you to research the co-working industry, because we know that's a new thing that's going
No, it
on."
was
He didn't say co-working.
2007. They knew about
Yeah.
co-working? That wasn't
Yes,
even a
no,
word in '07. I don't know if
it
I'm
definitely
buying that.
wasn't a word, but
Okay.
he said, there was a company called Micro Office that he said that I
Okay.
checked out.
Yep.
I'm sure I probably took a look at one or two Regis's at the
Yeah.
time. And he said, just, build out cubicles, and we're going to rent out each cubicle. And we'll take half of the floor for ourselves, and the other half we'll rent out. So that's essentially what we did.
Okay.
And we had, I don't know, like 40 cubicles or so. Like, it was primarily
Literal
open space.
cubicles. Like,
Literal cubicles.
okay.
Yeah. Old school.
Yeah.
About a year after that, we basically knocked all those down, and we converted them to individual suites.
Yep.
And shortly after that, financial crisis came.
Yeah.
And I would say every week or every other week, they would let go another employee. They would let go another employee. Every time they let go another employee, we would rent out another office. So it slowly started becoming, a business in itself. And then went from a company of maybe like 45 people to a company of 6 people. And so I kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I saw that they weren't really so focused on this business. They were more so focused on their construction business. So I offer them to buy them out. So I said, it doesn't seem like you guys are so interested in this business. I am. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into it. Would you be open to me buying you out? And so we negotiated for a bit, and that's how I got started. So I bought them out in my first location, and I want to say maybe 23, 24 at the time. I basically gave
And
them
it's 2007, 2008. Like this
yeah,
industry barely exists. And you're like,
yep,
this is what I'm gonna do. I mean,
yeah.
the executive suite, I hear you, right? It wasn't
That
like
was
a brand
around.
new
I always
concept.
joke
Yeah.
that I started before WeWork,
Yeah.
and they became a multi-billion-dollar company, and I'm just me.
Yes. Their smoke and mirrors on paper was worth more than
Right.
you. Yes.
Right. So that's how I started. And then I took 3 years to sort of gain some experience, gain a little bit of traction, get familiar with the business, understand what I'm doing. And that's when I started looking for my second location. And I doubled in size in 3 years after that with my second location. And I basically poured all my savings back to the second location. And then I did it again. I waited another 2 years at that time, and I signed a 24,000 square foot lease as for my third location. I threw everything I had back into that. I was telling Gio, I think that's what Gio was referencing. I said I basically leveraged to the max. Had credit card debt. I think I even signed up for a small cabbage loan. I don't know if they're around
I know,
anymore.
I don't either. I remember them though. Yeah.
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 And back then I didn't sleep,
Okay,
going
I was
through a
gonna say,
construction
like, what,
project,
how would Aura have felt about your stress level at that
At that
time?
time, it would not have been happy. It
But
would
you were
basically
young, you could
feel,
handle
yeah.
it. You were resilient. You're like 25, you know?
I was younger. Yeah. And then so after that, I took a step back, and this was all in Manhattan. So Manhattan's like Manhattan's a very volatile market. The rents sort of fluctuate a lot more than suburban markets.
The rents
And
of the
so,
offices, not your lease,
yeah,
but okay, so market,
my lease, no, the
your
rents
lease?
of my leases. Yeah. So building rents would fluctuate a lot, especially at that time when I signed my third lease. WeWork was like ramping up.
Okay.
And so I always used to tell people I never competed with WeWork,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, on the customer side because we're a totally different product.
Yeah.
But I just felt that like they were a primary reason why the office market just skyrocketed in New York because they went from a nobody
Yep.
to the number one tenant in New York above JP Morgan Chase within a period of, I don't know,
Yep.
3 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how many square feet JP Morgan Chase has in Manhattan, but I know it's a lot. They basically have like every other building is Chase on
Yeah.
Park Avenue.
Yep.
So that's how they sort of affected me, I think, in my opinion. They sort of pushed the rents up. And then obviously after COVID, the rents came down, especially in New York. Again, it's a volatile market. I think in the suburbs where, we have a lot of locations now, the rents don't really fluctuate so much. They sort of like they'll go from 24 to 25 and they'll sort of hover around there.
Yeah.
They'll escalate with your escalations every year and then you renew and your
Yep.
your base rent basically resets. It comes back down.
So here real fast.
Yeah.
So at the peak in late 2019, the WeWork surpassed JP Morgan Chase to become Manhattan's largest private office tenant. WeWork reached roughly 5.3 million square feet held, and JP Morgan held 5.2 million square feet.
Yeah. What year was that?
2018-19.
Yeah. And what year were they formed? WeWork. Curious.
2011.
So
What?
but I think the first few years they weren't expanding like they
Yeah.
were.
No,
You
they
know
were
what I mean? I think
operating
that,
what was it?
Well, he was trying to get the
They had
bank.
yeah, they had
Yeah.
that location on 5th and 34th.
Yep.
That was like,
2010
yeah,
is when it was founded.
right. Yeah.
2014 is when its rapid expansion started.
Yeah. Yep. But office rent, I was operating in Palo Alto at the time, and my lease in 7 years doubled. So same challenge. Like what you could get before was twice as much as as what you could get in 2020, right before the pandemic anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
mean,
probably
there
market
are some,
specific.
right. So some markets are like that. They just fluctuate a lot. I
Yeah.
think, today we were touring Morristown and they were saying rents are going from 35 to 55.
In
Um,
Morristown, New Jersey?
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
What drives that? What's happening in Morristown?
I think,
Supply, demand.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
So,
interesting.
well, and what's happening is, so it's interesting. So we've toured the last day and a half. And for example, outside of Morristown, call it Bridgewater and some of the others, are some larger, more enterprise developments, which are great, but they don't have the amenities.
Yep.
Right. And so we're going to use T-Mobile, for example, right? We actually toured one of their former spaces. And so what a lot of these companies are doing is they had a full floor or multiple floors, and they're no longer using multiple floors. So they're consolidating and now opening up 7 to 10,000 feet in downtown Morristown,
Right.
where everyone can walk around and they have the amenities.
Yeah.
And so that's what it's about, is how do you drive people to the office? And so that's even shifting those dynamics of these larger enterprises are
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
for all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which is why, back to your point, I mean, Morristown, New Jersey isn't getting more supply, right? It's landlocked unless you start tearing stuff down,
Yeah.
which
Got it. So for the buildings that are desirable, rent's going up because there's only so many. Got it. Makes sense. Okay, so
Anyway,
Isaac,
that's sort of how I ventured outside of New York. That I opened my third location, and then I started looking for my fourth location, and I started sweating because the rents just kept on going up. And I
Yeah.
just looked at my projections, and it was just, how do I make money? My margins just are
gone.
razor thin,
Yep.
gone. Doesn't really make sense opening a new location and investing so much money for what are the, what type of returns am I getting with these rents? And so I started looking outside of New York, and that's sort of how I
What was
began.
next?
So I acquired I mean, is it a competitor if I'm not really competing them? I acquired a competitor in Raleigh.
How'd you go from Manhattan to Raleigh?
So I hired a business broker because my thought process was, if I'm going to go to a city that I'm not in, I want to take over an existing
Okay.
operation because I don't know what it's like managing a center where I'm not there.
Yeah. Totally different from Manhattan is the answer, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I was based out of Manhattan, so I would see all my locations every day, every other day, right? And so that was sort of, you know, an uneasy feeling for me. It was a big risk. I didn't know, would I have to fly in once a month, once every other week, make sure everything's going okay? I just didn't know. So my thought process was, well, they've been, let me look for an existing operation, something that's running, that's making money, and I'll take over that. I'll pay a premium for that. And that's sort of what I did. I hired a broker. I must have taken 50, 60, 70 calls with existing, office suite companies, a lot of co-working companies, actually a lot of IT companies that were trying to get into the co-working industry. And so they would sign for 3,000 square feet of space. And their thought process was, well, I need 4 offices and I'm just going to rent out the remaining, 2,000. So a lot of calls with those types of companies. And we narrowed it down to 2 or 3 companies, and Raleigh was one of them. So I acquired that company out of Raleigh. And then there was another company that was based in Wilmington, Delaware, which I took over also.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that's basically how I began outside of New York.
Got it. And now I mean, you're
You're gonna love his market.
geographically
You're gonna love his
dispersed.
plan. You're gonna love his geographic plan. I'm not gonna say you're gonna agree with it, but you're gonna love it.
I mean, it does. I'm not sure it looks like a plan. Maybe opportunistic. Could we
Fair,
call it
fair.
opportunistic?
Right. No, opportunistic. That is the plan. It's
Yeah.
opportunistic. 100%. Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
square feet were the 2 that you took over?
North Carolina, Raleigh was 14,000.
Okay. So the right size in the right range. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to not pay for a build out. Like the
And to
question
not
is,
pay for a build out,
mean,
I was paying for the operation.
yeah.
I was paying for the operation.
Yeah.
Raleigh was 14,000. Delaware, Wilmington had 2 locations. So one was about 9,000, the other about 10, a little small.
Yep.
One location really carried the other. And so I kind of saw a lot of upside in that, in renting out the vacant suites. And then after that, I was introduced from the owner of the Raleigh Center to another owner in Knoxville who was retiring and also
I
looking
did
to
see
sell.
Knoxville. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
why?
Yep.
Why Knoxville?
Yeah. And that's actually, believe it or not, that I think maybe it's the smallest market that I'm in. It's my biggest location by far. That's 25. Well, not by far, but that's 25,000 square feet.
Okay.
So we have a presence in Knoxville, Tennessee. And from there, where did I go from there? I don't know. From there I forgot. Yeah.
Okay. Wait. So now when you look for, you said you don't really like touring, which implies you don't do it. So
No, I do. I just don't like it. I like looking at the tours. I like planning. I was telling Gio, planning is so fun. That's it. Just the planning.
Just the planning. Wait, planning for the
Yeah.
tours or planning for a new
For the
location?
tours. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
tours.
Just looking at the deal terms, just,
Yeah.
What's going on in the cities and all that
Mhm.
stuff. But the touring is, I mean, for me, it's tiring.
Yeah, sure.
Every time I'm with him, I say, I don't know how you do this every day.
That's why Aura's pissed at him, because
There you go. Right.
he's
Exactly.
flying in and out. He's touring all
Yeah.
day. It is exhausting. Did he bring
Yeah.
you snacks? He brings the ladies snacks.
This time he didn't bring me. I think last time I didn't eat any of what he brought, but
Last
he
time,
had a whole pack of protein bars for me.
this
Okay.
time I got to be the passenger princess.
Right.
So it's a little different. But
Okay.
I also got to explain this part too, right? Typically, I'm used to touring 3 to 5 buildings with my clients, right? I've narrowed it down.
Yep.
Isaac wants to look at 12 to 15
He wants
buildings.
to
And so
survey
literally,
everything in
he
the
wants
market.
to play
Okay.
everyone against
I
everyone.
see.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. This
And
is like wine
so-
tasting when really you should do like 3, but then you push it and you do like 5 and it burns the whole day.
Yeah, well, 3's not fun.
So yeah, so we did Detroit, and I basically told the joke was, I'm like, you're not going to get to eat. Literally, we have
Right.
9 meetings back to back all day long with no time.
Yeah,
And so
here's a
that's
bar.
where the snacks came in, is I
Yeah.
had to make sure that he got to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this time he actually picked me up, so I got to be the passenger princess, which I very much enjoyed.
And then he put the wrong
Um,
address in the GPS.
Well,
No, we will
that-
never do that
that's
again.
for the
Gio.
passenger
We'll never do that
princess.
again.
That's where the passenger princess should have checked where
Yeah.
we're headed, not
Double checked.
Manville.
Totally. Okay. So, Isaac, I'm curious. You have a very specific brand positioning. Like, here's what we sell. This is it. When did that, like, was that from day one, or did that sort of evolve and you got more clear on that?
So I think my what do you call it? The position in the market that we established was sort of formed by our first location, which was like a class D- building. So
Okay. Just give it to us
So-
straight. Yeah.
that's where I started it from my old bosses. I took it
Yeah.
over from them.
Yeah.
It-
Again,
just
very
the financials
opportunistic.
worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, the financials worked.
And people paid you.
And
There was
people
a-
paid us,
there was
and
a
the
customer
margins
segment.
and the
Yeah.
margins were just good. And so, that building, we would walk into the building, there would be there's no doorman in Manhattan. That's not the norm, right?
Yep.
And so there was one elevator. It was the freight elevator, and you had to go through the lobby to get to the freight elevator. And you'd see the oil stains coming out of the elevator, and the elevator would go up to our floor and just like jerk and stop short when they get to your floor. So it made for a different tour, when people would come in and say, that was an experience coming out of the elevator,
Yeah.
And so it wasn't a question of like, okay, well, what are our competitors charging? It was more so for that location, at
Yeah.
least. It was a question of, well, if our competitors are charging X amount, how much less do we need to charge for them to really, walk through this building?
Yep.
And so I think that sort of formed where we landed in the market, right? It was like that was a lower quality building. We happened to do well in that building while we were there. And eventually we sort of like graduated from that type of building. But we did well with just offering the no frills, no
Yeah.
bells and whistles, no
Yep.
beer kegs, none of that extra stuff. Just the office, just paying for what you need, right? And so that's sort of the model that we continued, and it treated us well. Yeah,
Okay, so
it was a
Gio-
niche that we sort of like jumped on.
Gio, if Chico is the Walmart of office space, what is TKO? Target?
I would say like a Target. I would say that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I'd say, what sign do I see? Steins.
Steins. Okay.
What is Steins?
You've been to Steins, right, Jamie? So it's like, it's a discounter. It's almost like a nice TJ Maxx.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
And so you can find quality brands and stuff like that, but it's at a discount. And
Right.
so, what he does really well is ultimately he's an executive suite, right? I think
Yeah.
that's the first way
Yeah.
we started, is we're not
Yeah.
trying to
No
be
dedicated
co-working.
desks, no hot desks, offices.
No.
And you'll
Private
love
offices.
this kind of
Correct.
the Bill Bennett. I don't think Flip has done it, but he actually has gone to China to get some of his finishes. And
Yep.
so he brings us some of his own finishes
Yep.
that allows for him to be able to do things at a lower price point, but still have control over the quality / look, right?
Yep.
So I'm curious about that. I don't think we've talked about it. At what point did you decide to go do that? And what was that process even like?
So when I was younger, they always say you have time, but no money. Is that what they say? Time,
Yes.
no money, or
Yeah.
you have
Money, but no. Yeah.
money, but no time. So I had time when I was younger. I had no money. And so I was saving up for my third location, and I just finished building out my second location, And I remember ordering these desks from a furniture dealer that were used, that were supposed to be like top of the line desks. And we ordered them and we paid, I don't know, $100 a desk. And
Wow.
they weren't even good quality. And so,
Right.
I think I ordered at the time for, an 11,000 square foot center, 150 desks. And I knew that I was trying to open a 15 or 20,000 square foot center. So I know a bunch of people that import, and I just thought to myself, like, why not, if I have the time, why not look for the suppliers, order it myself direct? I'm ordering enough to begin with. I could certainly fill, minimum order quantities and stuff like that. Let me take the time and do that research. And I did. And so I planned a trip. I went for, I think, a week and a half or so. Tour factories, like we tour office buildings. And I established a few relationships, and I've just been ordering since. Yeah.
Did you
And you
take
keep
someone with you?
No, you know what? That was probably a mistake in retrospect.
I mean,
So
it's
I remember,
bold.
yeah.
Just get on a plane.
So I had all my tours lined up, and I was
Okay.
going to Beijing. I went to Shanghai, and then I went to Hong Kong and Guangzhou after. And I had my, they're obviously the different cities, so there's flights between
Yep.
all of them. And so my first day, I actually I had a contact in Shanghai. She drove me around. I had a contact
Okay.
in Guangzhou. He drove me
Okay.
around. He was my and
You had
I
a wingman or a wingwoman with you.
I had a wingman, and honestly, I was really lucky that I did. But in Beijing, I didn't, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to be a problem. And back then, I don't think there were Ubers.
Ooh,
Yeah,
probably not.
there weren't Ubers. And so I got to my hotel, I checked in, I dropped all my luggage, I ordered a cab ride, dropped me off to this building, and the buildings there are not the same as like they are here. And it was almost like a ghost town. So I walked in and I'm just like lost. There's no doorman. Nobody asked for directions. I didn't see anybody. Every like 5 minutes, somebody would walk by. Nobody spoke English. And so I ended up, long story short, walking into this like deserted apartment building. Somehow I found the factory over there. I don't even know why they were in it. I think it was a showroom that was in an apartment, and that took me like 3 times as long as it was supposed to, and it basically wasted my first day because I couldn't make any of my other appointments. But I had, I did get 1 or 2 good appointments out of that, and I found the factory that I still work with today, and I made it to Shanghai, and then I had my agent that gave me tours over there, and the same thing in Guangzhou. And I don't know where it all worked out.
It worked
Yeah.
It
out.
worked
It
out.
worked
Yeah.
here, and here we are today.
Yeah.
All right,
24
let's go to a
locations.
personal one that you'll love.
Yes, dive in.
He
Yes.
he's got kids, and he
Okay.
is a baseball coach.
Not a
Ooh.
coach. I'm a coach helper. I'm not a
He's a
coach.
coach. You won't admit it. He's a coach. He's
Not
been
a
sucked
coach.
in. He's
No.
been sucked in, but he doesn't want
Yeah.
the title. So she has dealt with the parenting situation.
Right. Yeah.
And she's what are you? You're like the commissioner?
I'm the regional commissioner
Oh,
That's
wow.
for our local soccer league, AYSO.
God bless.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Crazy parents. Actually, the hardest job is refereeing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
I have actual trolls that like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was watching the World Cup and I was like, I don't watch a lot of professional soccer, and I get yelled at for not calling enough stuff. And I'm sort of like, put
Right.
your big girl pants on, And you watch the
Right.
World Cup, I mean, it's like a full contact sport.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what? Anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
tell me about your kids.
So I have 4 kids, 12-year-old daughter,
Okay.
10-year-old son, 7-year-old son, and then a 5-year-old boy. Yeah.
Okay. Fun.
Yeah,
Fun, maybe.
It's fun. It's fun. I love them all.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And they're all different.
Wait,
Yeah.
and where do you live now?
So I live in Brooklyn, and then
Okay.
for the summers we go down to the Jersey Shore.
You know what? I have to, this one, when you're talking about New Jersey, I have to tell you, I live just south of San Francisco. I grew up in upstate New York, and my husband lived in Philadelphia, and he would go to the Jersey Shore in the summers. So our neighbor just went to New Jersey for work. And for some reason, he met a client at the Jersey Shore. And
Yeah.
we live in California. It's pretty nice.
Right.
And he comes, he's like, dude, have you been to the Jersey Shore? He's like, it is
Yeah.
so good. He's like,
Yeah.
it's so pretty. The beaches are so pretty. The
Yeah.
vibes are so fun. He's like, wants to vacation at the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
It's like, this is great. This is totally
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. It's really nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
We like our summers.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, let the kids
Yeah.
like run free and get them out of your hair.
Yep.
Very nice. Okay. Wait, and
Takes the
so
top off the Bronco, no doors, drives around.
nice. Hoping one of the kids falls out.
My 7-year-old is like a little puppy. He sticks his head out. I love driving and just turning around and watching him. It's great. It's
So
great.
fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of, how's your little one? Is she enjoying
She's not
summer?
little. She's 14 and a half.
I don't know. She's
Oh,
your,
that's not
she's
little.
still your little one.
Yeah.
I know. We are now club volleyball parents.
Travel club
So,
volleyball, is that official? Like,
it's
what does that work?
unclear. Yeah, they don't tell you a lot of details. It's
Okay.
very intense. You try out and then you get offers and like
Oh, wow.
so she's
You have a
5'8"
signing
and a
and
half.
do all
so
that
she,
stuff?
she got an offer before like the official tryouts started at the combine.
Wow.
I know. So she just started volleyball a year ago. She had knee
Is this
surgery,
indoor
foot
or beach?
gymnastics. Indoor. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
But
she's our
someday beach.
editor. She's our editor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she does not. She cuts out the swearing. She does not like potty
So
mouth.
we do not do a whole
We keep
lot
it
of
clean on the
editing.
Flex Uncensored podcast.
We do not do a lot of editing unless Senorita Dagny requests that we don't
Yeah.
Okay.
use extracurricular words.
Okay.
Exactly. Anyway,
Yeah.
wait, you got ask him some more personal question.
I love volleyball. I play once a week in the summer.
Oh, you do? Beach?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's a great like lifelong sport. I lived in Chicago for a long time and we would go down Saturdays, put up a net, play
Yeah.
all day. So fun. Yeah.
Yep. Love it.
Nice.
And
Keeps
well,
you-
I'm gonna ask you, how was your trip? I haven't talked to you since you got back from your trip.
Dude,
Like,
I know we can't talk about the trip on the podcast. It
why
was
not?
great.
He's cultured. He loves traveling the world, and he wants to hear about
With
your
4
your
kids.
trip.
I can't imagine taking trips with 4 kids. I can't even like
Next week. You
comprehend
want
it.
to babysit? We ask everybody. We take everybody.
Just to take them along. That
Yeah.
it is funny. I mean, I only have 1 kid, so I can't take someone along. But that's a great way to do it. Yeah, take a nanny or a cousin or whatever. Yeah, we went to Spain.
They don't come with us.
The kids don't come.
No.
You're going solo.
Yeah, we said vacation.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. This is
Tell me
good.
you're going.
Yeah, we're going to Switzerland, and we're going to Zurich for a day,
No.
Lucerne. No, yeah, Lucerne,
Yeah.
Interlaken, and finishing up in Lake Como. Should be
This
nice.
is very good. Very good for the marriage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
That's great. That's excellent. You must have in-laws that live nearby.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's key.
parents.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I know we moved across the country and I was like, this is probably not a good idea. Like, people do that now. You move away, you don't have family around. There's no
Yeah.
one you can ask to stay with your kids for a week. And then,
You need babysitters. Yeah, yeah.
like a really good one. Yeah.
Just like a good broker, you need a good babysitter.
Right.
So, well, back to business stuff.
Back to business.
So he's actually out signing leases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So leases
not
not
management.
You don't do any management. You want the upside. You're signing leases.
Yes, I want the upside, and I just, as an operator, I never really bought into the management agreements either. I mean, I understand the reasoning for it. I just felt like it was so much more of a pitch or a sale that needed to be made
100%.
to the landlords. And I just felt that how many could I possibly do
Yeah.
to really grow the business?
Yeah. You're a New
Um,
Yorker. You're impatient. You got to keep moving.
we were just joking about that, Gio and I. We would in New York, we submit an offer and we get it back like the next day. But in other markets, Gio was saying, like, I think he said in,
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City, he made an offer and he was waiting 3 weeks to get a response.
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay.
And
So,
still waiting.
yeah.
Still waiting.
Yeah. So
I'm like, how do,
Huh.
and it's Oklahoma City. It's not like you're in Manhattan and you're negotiating, dozens of deals. I'm like, how
Right.
many 20,000 square foot deals
Yeah.
are running around Oklahoma
Yeah.
City?
Totally, right.
Like, how do you make a living?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so tell me about your build out costs. Like, you don't have to tell me exactly, but I'm guessing part of your model is, if there are operators spending 250, 150, you're coming in below that.
We're below that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we usually range, I mean, and there could be the exception, but we usually range anywhere from like 60 to 90 a foot.
Okay. All in FF&E.
Yeah, I would say all in FF&E. Yeah. And so obviously we don't get all that covered, so we cover the difference.
Yep.
And remember, we're on the more affordable side, so we
Yep.
get even less TI from the landlord.
Yeah.
So if we can't cover, we try and extend the term to get as close to as possible. That's it. Yeah.
Gio, you ask a question.
Me ask a question. It's
Yeah.
been a lot of fun. So he is super detail oriented.
Okay.
So it's funny. So from the very, okay, let's be, so from the very beginning, he said, hey, if I am not, it looks like I'm not paying attention, I'm taking notes.
Right.
Oh,
So he
Sure.
diligently takes notes the entire tour. And that's how he remembers properties, right? And so he
yeah,
remembers
totally. How are you
the
going to remember
smallest
12
little
properties
details.
if you're not
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
notes?
I mean, we tour 12 properties a day. So
But you're
Yeah.
detailed. Not everyone would do that.
right.
Not
Okay.
everyone's as successful as Isaac over here. Isaac, are you cash flowing all of the locations, or do you have investors or debt sources?
No investors. We generally cash flow. Obviously not everything is successful, and
Yeah.
that's part of the risk that we take on. And that's sort of the argument that I make when we're making an investment also, where it's not necessarily a guarantee for us also
Yep.
to be successful. And for the most part, all our locations do decent. They do pretty good,
Do well enough to cash flow the next ones. You're like Laura K. I mean, and I guess Chico. Is there anybody else who's cash flowing their next locations?
Flip?
That's it.
No,
Flip.
Flip's got an investor,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
I think I mean, I think what the biggest driver is probably the build out,
Yeah. Sure.
how much you got to spend on your
Yep.
building and how nice. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're spending $200 a square foot, you really need to have good margins
Yep.
to pay that back.
Yep.
I mean, in my opinion, that's a riskier business. I mean, obviously some pay off, but I think also some are huge drains, like they're, it's drawn cash.
Yep.
Obviously, I mentioned that, we've taken over a few existing operations. So I've seen a bunch of deals where, whether it be, I don't know, can I name names on this? Yeah. So, whether it's
Or uncensored.
right. Office Evolution, Serendipity Labs, Venture X's, Intelligent Offices, a lot of those are for sale out there. They're on, I mean, it's public information. They're on the market. So you could see, especially the nicer builds typically fluctuate a lot, like they could either be really cash flowing
Yep.
or really be sucking dirt,
Yep.
Yeah.
Sucking dirt. This is a great New York expression.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, when you're spending to get into a location and create a premium product, everything has to be right. The customer has
All
to
the
be
stars
there.
need to align. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because you need to be getting a revenue per square foot to get those margins that is substantial. So if you can't price right to pay back the build out to make the margins, and
Right.
that depends on a lot of things, right? You have to, yeah, exactly. And your assumption and experience, I mean, it sounds like your portfolio is not complete perfection, but your customer segment exists in every market.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I primarily compete with Regis.
Yep.
So Regis is everywhere.
Yeah.
So Regis, Office Evolution, Intelligent Office, the Serendipity Labs, Venture X, Industrious, WeWork, I would say those are definitely a step above. But I mean, every market has a Regis.
Yeah.
A lot of them have, Office Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And I think I would argue the fact that it's not a step above, it's a step different.
Yeah.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think that's a big part of it is he's not trying to compete with those people. Right. Like full transparency, we're looking at a space near like in the same business park as a Venture X. And it's like, we're not
Totally
afraid
different
of that
client. Yep.
competition because it's a
Yeah.
totally different client
Yep.
base.
yeah.
I think one of the things that you'd love about him so much is his efficiency on everything. But from an office standpoint, it's funny. And you and I have talked about, and you've heard me say it enough times, right? I tell people, all divide a floor, whatever the square footage is by 250 so that I understand how many offices. And the
Yep.
first time we're touring, I said that it's more like 215. And so I'm like, that's a lot more offices.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought your number was 225.
It's varied, but I mean, even then 215 and 225 on 20,000 feet is a lot of square footage.
Yeah.
But then also, his efficiency with how he manages the team and, the overall business, I think is something that, I know you have, I guess I would probably say, a problem getting some operators to realize how efficient they need to be to truly make money.
Yeah. Yep. Right. So I was going to say competing against Regis, but keeping a lean. I'm guessing your team is pretty lean.
Yes.
Yeah. You're not
We are
competing on.
as
Yeah.
lean as can be. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, also when you're on the more affordable side, I feel like the mentality is more so, you're watching your costs as opposed to watching your revenue. Like whatever you can get, you get, or whatever your revenue, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's more so focused on just minimizing your costs,
Yeah.
and then, if you could push the envelope and get a little bit more and stretch your margins, great,
Yeah.
but I mean, I would say it's primarily about mitigating my risk
Yeah.
and just always minimizing costs.
Yeah.
That's generally my mentality.
And you have a model that you run that works as long. So I'm curious about the efficiency. When you go look for a new location, you're going to build to get to the efficiency. Like you'll put up walls or.
Yeah, I mean, it'll cost a little more.
Yep.
I would say that's probably where our niche is, right? So, we'll have, I mean, I guess I shouldn't really say we'll have the smallest offices because, WeWork, Industry, they all have those small glass offices now.
WeWork has
Back then they didn't used to
36
have them.
square foot
Right.
glass. Yeah.
Right. But we'll have like a 7x7, right? A 7x7 is really, I mean, that used to be considered a small office.
Yep.
But we'll build those out, or 7x8s. And I always get a little bit nervous in new suburban markets because I'm from Manhattan, right? Or I'm from New York.
Totally. That's like spacious.
And I know
that's totally fine. Yep.
Yeah, like I know New York, everybody's gonna be fine with a 4x4 office.
Yeah.
But once you go to a suburb, they're coming from large houses, they want, a 15x15 office.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, small business owners, they also want to reduce their costs, And so I think that's where our niche is. It's, the most affordable office we could provide. That's a great value.
Yeah.
So we try and do a better build out than a Regis for a more affordable price. That's typically what we say.
Yep. Got it. And then how do you get your customers? Are you running ads or organic strategies?
I mean, the more locations we have, the more we just, marketing channels we sort of branch out to. But I would say we really do everything. We're trying to expand onto Facebook now, Google, a lot of Google, Craigslist, SEO, office brokers, regular brokers, every channel, everything.
Yeah. Don't spend too much time on Facebook.
Okay. I'm about to start a new campaign. Maybe I'll cancel it.
Do marketplace, but I think you'll just
Marketplace?
generally find your ad quality is very low. You'll get leads and
Right.
then they just won't convert. But test it. You never know until you
Right.
test. Yeah. But Facebook Marketplace kind of functions like Craigslist. I don't know if you use it that way.
I mean, Craigslist is good. I mean, it has its positives and negatives, as you know.
Yeah.
it's just, when you have more availabilities, you just have to fill the vacancy. It just becomes harder and harder to fill them, So you don't really want to leave anything out, I feel like, because you never know when you're gonna, where you're gonna get a lead from.
Yep. Yeah. Do you have a
It's a challenge.
centralized sales team, or do your location teams do sales?
It's centralized. And I think that's one of our strengths, frankly, because I mean, one, we don't have to pay for a salesperson per location or per area. I don't know. I never found that we actually needed to actually have a salesperson giving the tour
Yeah.
to make the sale.
Yep.
It was I mean, I think once we shifted from that mentality, I think we actually did better in sales, and that it just worked. We just continued
That
it.
works. So your
Yeah.
location team does the tour, but the follow-up, all the CRM stuff happens with the lead management lives centrally.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes
And
sense.
as we've been growing, we've been trying to take more of like the management responsibilities to the back end.
Yep.
To sort of manage better.
So I've never asked this question, so I'm as curious as you. Virtual mail.
I know.
Okay.
You do a
That was
bunch
on
of-
my list too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She loves virtual mail.
I
Do you
do.
do
Of
a
course.
big virtual mail business?
I would say we could probably do more, no question. But yes, we do a lot. We do virtual. Yeah.
What percent
Yeah,
of your
same.
revenue ish?
12,
Okay.
13%. I mean, it depends on the location. Like if it's a 25,000 square foot location, probably a little bit lower. But
Yep.
if it's an 8,000,
Yeah, I know the percentage
square,
question's tricky, but yeah,
but
just to
more or less, yeah. Yeah. And it also depends on the market also.
She loves to run a virtual mail challenge.
Okay.
the mailbox
I'm
moneymaker
intrigued.
challenge.
Okay.
Well, because
Moneymaker?
yes, you know this. I mean, you sell office space, and then to
Right.
your point, like your model is managing expenses. But if you're gonna hit whatever your margin goal is, like
Right.
you're gonna hit a cap at workspace. So you gotta add
100%.
on,
Yeah.
yeah. And a lot of people just don't do that, and they wonder, why am I not very profitable and I've sold all my offices? They're also probably not nearly as efficient as you are. I mean, you're running, it sounds like, a pretty efficient model.
Yeah. So funny fact. So, as I mentioned, so we acquired, a nice chunk of our new locations, and obviously we built out from scratch also. So whenever I come across operators that are looking to exit or sell, if I see that they don't have any virtual business, that's like a huge bonus, because I know, like, right off the bat,
You can add, yep.
that's that's an easy, extra, whatever amount that I could add to the bottom line.
Yep, totally.
But yeah, absolutely.
Do you find operators that are not profitable that are trying to sell?
All the time. Most operators.
How do you
In fact,
how do you approach that in terms of valuation?
I mean, it's challenging because, so I mentioned, when I started expanding outside of New York, I hired a business broker, to look for existing operators that are looking to sell. So he would go onto all the for sale platforms, and obviously he combed those, but he would also send out flyers based on the nasty codes. And so he set up a bunch of phone calls, and I would say 90% of the calls that I took were really those IT companies that I was mentioning, right? That they just, they had an IT company, and they're like, all right, well, we need, 500 square feet, but this is a great business model. Like, it's so easy. Let me just do it myself. I'm going to rent 2,500 square feet. I mean, first of all, I don't see any way to make money on 2,500 square feet, but every call I took with those, I mean, I'll call them operators, it was, are you profitable? And so every other answer was no. And the ones that were, the follow-up question was always, well, how profitable are you? And are you paying yourself a salary? And so the answer to those, the 100% of those answers were, well, I'm a little bit profitable, but I'm not paying myself yet, because, obviously we're in growth mode or whatever. Like, these are our projections, and this is how much we're going to make. So that just gives you a sense, like, those smaller operators, most of the time don't make money. or at least the ones that I came across. Obviously, there's a lot that do, but
I don't think that's true. I think you're totally right. Like the math doesn't math for
right. I mean, I
smaller
think,
locations. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And then when you have to pay franchise fees, it's even more difficult.
Yeah,
yeah,
100%. Right. When you're talking about thinner margins, which is why you need the ancillary revenue like mail
yeah,
and meeting rooms,
yeah,
et cetera.
yeah.
So kind of circling back, I don't think we ever covered that. But as far as his growth strategy is he
Yep.
wants to hit every state and then go back and fill in the state. So he's, as opposed to doing 3 to 5 locations in a market and
Yep.
then having market share, he's basically, how do we cover each state and then go back and drop
Are you allowing this,
multiple
Gio?
locations? He has his own mind and his own decision
He's in
making,
charge.
and I follow his lead.
Okay.
And
Don't
so,
do you find
and I think
yeah.
that's part of it is, and he and I had this stock conversation. For a lot of my clients, I'm basically their real estate arm, and they let me go out and kind of put it together, and then we go from there.
Yeah.
But he's got a really unique way of looking at things, and he's super hands-on and methodical he's very strategic, right? So there's a reason why he's doing that. And so, we had this conversation, Ian had this conversation in Detroit. I'm like, I'm excited to learn from you as much as you are from me, right? And I think that's the cool part about it is, I think when we get stuck in an idea of things have to look a certain way, then I think that's when we stop growing. And so I think I've enjoyed watching and learning from how he looks at things because it's so different than other people, right? And so it's working for him, but it is different than I think some of us would look at it from a standpoint. But like we were just talking about, okay, where are we going the rest of the year? So we've planned out tours for the rest of the year once a month, right? Because he's got a pretty aggressive growth. What's your aggressive growth number per year?
8, 9 locations a
Yeah.
year.
So
Yeah.
look at her face.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Go
If you
big
can
or
find
go
the
home.
deals, I mean, you have a model that
I
you
mean,
know
it's
how to
easier when you're
run.
signing a straight lease.
Yeah.
Going back to that original point,
Yep.
right? I think a lot
Yeah.
of landlords are a lot more willing to transact. And I think that goes back to my other point of, seeing 10 or 12 properties a day. It weeds out the landlords that are not going to be interested in transacting with you, whether it
Yep.
be on credit, TI, rent, or whatever else it may be. And also a lot of locations just don't project out. I mean, they just
Yep.
they just don't.
They don't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what it needs to look like.
Yeah.
It's like yes or no. I mean, you just know how to do this at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at your photos. These are much nicer locations than I would have guessed.
Well, we said we're not a
We're
Walmart.
going
You
at
said
least
you said
Target.
in her defense, you did
Yeah.
start off by saying you were in D buildings that had
Totally. I think you anchored
Right,
me
right,
very
right.
hard
oil
on
leaking
yes.
out of buttons.
Right. Well, I
did-
mean, I
y-
said we grew out of that, but
You
yes,
did, but
absolutely.
quite
Yeah.
nicely. But I
Yeah.
mean, I think Flip does this well too, like just knows like the right levers to pull to make it look like this is not well, I guess the no frills language makes me think, less nice than this. Although
Right.
you could use a new photograph of conference room A.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
Knoxville. Yep.
yeah, Knoxville
So
looks pretty no frills.
yeah. Yeah. Well, we just renovated the
Oh wait,
lobby,
but
so
this
it
one's
looks
nice. Wait, same
so.
location. That's
Yeah.
great.
Funny fact. So if as you've been hearing, I'm pretty analytical. So we have 2 conference rooms. Well, I think we have 3 conference rooms over there. So I was curious to see if we touched up one, what would be the difference that we'd be able to charge between both locations, the
And
nicer and the not nicer one, to
yeah.
see. I didn't finish my analysis.
No, you haven't done okay. You have to let me know because I buy it. And I just
Yeah.
interviewed. I mean, photos make a big difference. Anybody who runs a lot of meeting rooms will tell you photos. I 100% believe conference room B is outselling A all day long,
Yeah.
except this is a different, it's not exactly apples to apples because it's a different setup. Like this looks a little more, I don't know,
Fair. Yeah.
training, flexible.
Yep.
Yeah, but look at these compared to that. No, I was going to say, I mean, I think there is absolutely data that shows the correlation. Photos
Yep.
equals more bookings. as long as it's really easy to book. What platform are you running on?
So this is all custom. This is our July 28th. Maybe that's why it's.
Oh yeah, it's already passed, so I'm confusing it probably.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, custom.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you still glad you did that?
I don't know.
Okay. That's a separate
This is
conversation.
this is the public.
Totally.
I'm gonna be getting phone calls from Yardi, Census, and all the others tomorrow.
You're probably right. Okay,
Yeah.
I love this. This is nice. The upsell. Is
Yeah.
this? Yeah. I totally want a sliced fruit tray for my meeting.
All right.
That's so simple. Nobody does this, right? But you're not offering like 10 things. It's just, but you do charge for, you're charging for coffee in the room. What if they just want a cup of coffee? Can they like,
We have that. Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But this I
So
assume
he
is like
threw you
coffee
off
in
with
the
the
room.
no frills. He
He
threw you off.
totally did. Simple though. You're talking like we don't have like a nap room. We don't like we're not using square footage
No
for
nap room,
things.
no phone booths,
No,
no,
okay. No
we generally
podcast
have one
room.
conference room per location,
Oh,
a small reception area, I would
yep.
say.
Right. You don't
Um,
have 10,000 square feet of lobby space like you walk in, at a Venture X
correct.
where you're like,
Yeah, we
how
try.
is this being
Yeah,
monetized? Sorry, Venture X
yeah,
people, but it is a lot of
yeah,
unmonetizable space. Yep.
yeah.
Hmm.
We definitely
Okay.
try and capture every square foot of space.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's partly what you mean by the no frills, I think, is like you're not
right.
right. We don't have a lot of we're not running laps in your open space.
But
Also
as
a
far
nice
as
looking meeting room.
yeah, I would say the finishes we try and we try and spend on the finishes. So
Okay. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. 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 And I'm guessing you've learned like what to spend on. Like yeah, this is I like it.
Yeah.
I like
And
this model.
I would say we're learning on every new deal and on
Sure.
every new
Still
build. Yeah.
24 locations later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single one. Yeah. I mean, my Gio and I haven't really done. Did we do any yet? We started touring. We didn't do any yet, but I'll give a shout out to Michael Kloppenberg, who really helped me. I think we did maybe 10 or 15. We did a lot of deals together.
Wow.
And so I would tell him like every deal that we did, like it's like, hey, maybe for the next one we should do this, or maybe for
Yep.
the next one we should do, you know what I mean? So it's always every deal we're always learning and seeing like where to tweak, where to, what would probably be more efficient, what would be more, where would we be more successful in. And so I'm always learning. I'm always looking to learn because, that's just the way to be.
I think such
Yeah.
an interesting part is, with covering the entire country, every market's different,
Yeah.
right?
Too.
The deal parameters are different, the consumer is different, the traffic patterns are even different
Yeah.
in certain markets, right? And so, like even the sub markets that we got to see over the last 48 hours, like we went to one and it was like there's a ton of attorneys in this market,
Yeah.
and we are able to understand why, right? And then earlier today, there wasn't so many attorneys in a different submarket, but there was more insurance companies. And so it's going and figuring out the nuances, right? It's real simple. Like, laughed yesterday, I got into it with a broker, and by into it, we had a nice little fun exchange where she's like, I was like, well, the demographics, the building I originally called you at, they were higher. And she's like, no, they're not. Not higher than they are here. And I could look out the window and see the Ramada Inn and the Doubletree Hotel, as opposed to the AC Hotel and the Marriott that were across from the other building. And so to me, just the retail component tells me what the demographic is, right?
Yeah.
Just no different than driving neighborhoods and seeing a Mercedes in front of a house versus a Toyota Camry. Nothing wrong with it, with the Toyota Camry, but I just know it's a different demographic.
Yeah.
And so it's just for us, as we look at markets, understanding how these market dynamics work. And back to it, we've discussed this, right? That's how some of these operators get themselves in trouble, going from Texas, jumping all the way to North Carolina, like some people that we know, or, you just start not you, but
I'm in
Very
Texas, and
subtle,
North Carolina.
very subtle, Geo.
but you didn't start in Texas. I was talking about Common Desk.
Right. Okay.
Right. How they'd done really well in Texas and they had, a dozen locations. And then all of a sudden they announced
Right.
a North Carolina location. It's like, why, how are you making that jump?
Right.
But again, part of it too, the difference back to is they were a true hospitality driven group with open
Right.
space. And how do you shift that culture?
And you need a
It's
very
different.
specific consumer. I think that's why I like your model. Your consumer is in most markets. I mean, Geo is helping you, discern, but right, a Common Desk consumer is not in every market. You need the
There's not going to
demographics
be
to line
consumers
up.
with torn jeans and nose piercings everywhere.
I mean, I would make the argument that they are in most markets. I think it's just more of a supply and demand. Or like, how much are they willing to spend for it? You know, I think that's. I mean, again, I'm on the cost side, so I'm always focused on the expenses and the costs. So I think that's the lens that I typically see things through. So I feel like everybody would love to be in an industrious.
Yep.
Not everybody's going to pay for it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's more of like a pricing challenge, so to speak.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So he's a tennis player. Loves tennis.
Oh, I played my first pickleball game on Sunday. First time.
I've never played. Have you?
We played like with the ping pong vibe. I was like, I feel like we're playing.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think if you look, like, the professionals are like, they got one in the front that's just like hitting the short balls, and it's but I guess some people play ping pong like that. It's more approachable than tennis, and you don't have to worry about getting old and ruining your shoulder. Yeah, I liked it.
You ruin your shoulder in tennis?
I hope
not
not yet, but you're still young.
Right.
Yeah, you're still playing volleyball. You're doing all the things.
We need to set up a celebrity fundraising match between Flip and Isaac.
No, I was actually joking with Flip on the last conference. I said I want lessons. I'm not good. I think Flip plays and he's good.
I suspect that might be right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Don't tell him that. His ego
You're
is
like a
already big enough.
multi-sport guy. You're versatile. You've got the volleyball going.
Cross-trained.
Let's get a
going.
let's get a volleyball game going on.
That
the
I
next
like.
conference.
Oh, yep. Wait, Miami's juicy. Never mind. Wait, Miami.
No, Miami, we're doing immersive.
Yeah.
And then we're doing Puerto Rico next year for immersive.
Oh.
In first quarter. So we're gonna have some beach time. We're working on some beach time.
Okay,
all right.
Nice.
Do it by your net.
We'll
Isaac, are you going to Denver for GWA?
I am.
He's speaking on the growth panel.
Okay, great. I was gonna say, I'm like, Gio, how's this guy not been on a panel yet?
He's speaking on the growth panel.
Okay, great. Love it.
And I'm slowly working him into the leadership at GWA because with the size with his size and just his he's got a different skill set than a lot of the operators that we have out there, right? A lot of them, as you well know, that they shoot and then they aim as opposed to aiming and then shooting. I think those things are important. And so I think he could be an asset for us as we continue growing.
I want him on a panel with Chico.
Chico, what panel is Chico on?
We should do Isaac, Chico, and Laura Kay sometime. That'd be fun.
I got to
the cash flow panel. Super inspirational.
Oh yeah, that's what Chico's on. Chico's on the profit of extra revenue or something like that.
Okay.
So because he does so well with his virtual business.
Totally.
Yep. We got to figure out which panel you're going to be on.
Yep. Put me in, coach. When's the agenda going up?
As soon as I figure out where you're going. I'll send you kind of it's funny while we were sitting here, I sent it to Jackie because I'm looking to bring her on to do a couple things, or not a couple things, a panel. So we've been going back and forth.
I mean, even though she's hosting a competing event the week before.
So
bygones.
I'm trying to look past that stuff. And, at the end of the day, this industry is big enough for all of us, right?
Yeah,
and
I love their format. I totally love it. I wish they weren't doing it the week before another conference. That's all. Yeah.
So
But
just
okay.
keep
Cool.
extending the olive branch. Keep extending the olive branch.
Wait, did I miss the Jackie? You did it. I need to listen. When I
No, we
walk.
haven't recorded.
Oh, okay.
Didn't record with Jackie.
I thought she. Okay.
I'm waiting
Maybe you
for
were trying
you.
to schedule it with her. Okay.
I
Good.
was. I've been
Okay,
trying to
great.
schedule.
Okay.
So Jackie she was
Through the
at,
Pacific.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then
okay.
she left and she decided she's doing kind of a chief marketing officer kind of consultant type deal.
Like fractional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
she's basically split it with Peter Chi, and with ThinkSpace,
Okay.
and then Jerome with Blank Space. I didn't even think about the ThinkSpace and Blank Space.
The spaces. Yeah.
The spaces.
Okay. Let's wrap with my wrap question.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yep. Are you ready, Isaac? Okay. Okay. We're in Denver. We're going to do karaoke. What's your karaoke song?
oh, you got me.
No, come on. How about like, I don't know, some Bon Jovi, something.
All right.
I'm not a karaoke guy.
Okay.
So I'll switch it on you. I'll come up
Okay.
with a new one. If you were a cartoon character, which character would you be?
Another great question.
He's too young. Maybe he didn't watch cartoons.
He's old enough to watch
I was a Ninja Turtle guy. I was a Ninja
Ooh,
Turtle guy.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
So which one would you be?
Leonardo for sure.
Oh,
Why
wait.
Leonardo?
He was the leader.
Well done.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Okay, wait. How about the since you're a baseball helper, what would your walkout song be?
Probably Sandman by Metallica.
Ooh.
It's
Mhm.
mine. That's what we
Okay,
lost.
and then Mets or
gave it to me.
Yankees.
Really? Really?
Yeah, that's his. Mets or Yankees.
Yeah, Mariano Rivera. That's a song. There you go.
Mariano Rivera is a song.
Is it
Mariano.
Yankees?
He's a Yankee player.
He was the Yankee
He
closer.
was a
Yes.
closer.
Yes.
They would play it every time he went out. He went out onto the
Oh,
field.
Sandman was his song.
Yeah. So
Okay,
I
got it.
started playing it for my boys before their little league games.
Nice.
So now when we go, they say, what's the tradition song that we play? Put that on, Dad. So I play that on the way to the games.
Okay.
Final question.
That's funny.
Did we land on the moon?
Did we land? I say yes, but I know you say no. Is that a fair answer?
Oh God, this is
You
what
never
get to talk
told me,
about
but
on your
I
tours.
know you enough.
Okay.
Okay, with
That's a
that,
wrap.
thank you, Isaac. We look forward to seeing you in Denver and on stage.
Yep.
Okay.
Looking forward.